I'm Max Thompson.
I'm Ishmael Johnson.
I'm Greg Tepper.
And we're Texas high school football experts breaking down the Friday Night Lights TV show. All right, guys, just a quick refresher. We're doing this because it's the off season. We don't have anything else to do, really. We have lots of things to do. But our fans, for the longest time on Texas Football Today, our daily football show at texasfootball.com, had asked us for the longest time to review Friday Night Lights because, shock, gasp, horror, none of us had ever seen it.
Right.
We've already done one episode, which was us recapping Season 1, Episode 1 through 11. And now today, we're finishing out the season, Episodes 12 through 22. Gentlemen, a summary. The Dillon Panthers scrape their way into the playoffs and charge all the way to the state championship despite endless drama within the team, community, the personal relationships of everyone involved, a toxic chemical spill, the head coach leaving, and a partridge in a pear tree.
That's about right. Yeah. You pretty much nailed it. Is that from the IMDb page?
That's exactly where it's from. All the things that we talked about in the first episode about the ridiculousness of this, I will just restate from the beginning. We know lots of people have covered a lot of the issues within the show. That's all right. Our goal here is to tell you what's right and what's wrong when it comes to Texas high school football, where things line up, where they don't. And like normal human beings, we will be annoyed about certain aspects of the show, and we'll like certain aspects of the show. Greg is especially chomping at the bit for some of the football realism in this one. We'll get to that in a minute. And we're going to start in a place that we sort of left off in the first episode, and I'm going to kick it off straight to you, Greg, because we enter with the way Dillon makes the playoffs out of nowhere. No explanation before this episode. They need Arnett Meade to lose, or they're not going to make the playoffs. Again, we will establish 4 teams make the playoffs from every district in Texas high school football. So flat out, this just doesn't make sense.
Let's just move on. Let's take that aside, and let's say this operates in a fantasy world.
You go ahead.
Where there's not 4 teams that make the playoffs from each district. Let's just say it's only 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They already beat Arnett Meade, right?
Yes.
Am I crazy?
Or is that the game?
Oh no, that's
the one they lost. That's
the one that was the voodoo.
That's the one they forfeited.
Oh, that's the game
Tatum.
they
Yeah, that was his ineligibility.
So then, take that back.
Okay.
But this is a situation in which there are apparently still 5 rounds of the playoffs, right? Right.
Yes.
I believe there's still
including state.
Including state.
There are 5, which is not true either. But
that's not true either.
Neither here nor there.
That would operate under the assumption that there are 2 teams that make each playoff.
Yeah.
Make the playoffs out of each district.
Right.
Then why do you need Arnett Meade to lose? Like, I just don't understand. The playoff structure in this world is completely and totally baffling to me. I have no idea how you make the playoffs. It is, like, I understand. There are definitely situations in Texas high school football where you need teams to lose to get in.
Yeah.
But not when you have only lost 2 games at maximum, right? You're going to be fine. If you go 8-2, you play a 10-game season in Texas high school football. If you go 8-2, about 100% of the time you're making the playoffs. I just don't in fact, 100% of the time you're making the playoffs.
Right. And it wasn't like they were battling for like seed or anything. It was like, we want to avoid this team or we want to get the number 1 seed in the they were just trying to make the playoffs. And I was really struggling to figure out, you guys have lost 2 games. How are you already? I don't know. It was really odd.
And so obviously they have a bye week, right? They have a bye week while Arnett Meade is playing some team they need to live.
I think they had to win their game and then they had to wait for Arnett Meade, then they played their last game. Right? I think that was it.
But the thing is, here's the thing: if they're in the same district with Arnett Meade, why didn't they play the team that Arnett Meade lost to?
Nice,
that's true,
right? Why didn't they ever play that team?
Yeah,
and also this game is on TV
everywhere. Game is on TV
again. Nothing.
Not a thing.
That's not a thing.
And apparently they're watching it like outdoor at a trailer, so it's on like over the air TV.
Yeah,
it's on like NBC or CBS or something.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, the playoff structure is probably the one thing that takes me out of this the most.
Something tells me it was like the show is kind of a blend of mid-2000s and 80s when, like, the actual Friday Night Lights story took place.
Sure.
I think it's supposed to be kind of a blend, like warping of reality because, it's 2005 or between 2005 2007, I guess, is when this takes place. But also, like you said, like they're airing games on TV, no problem. The TVs aren't that, like, they look like old TVs too.
Yes.
Like I'm not saying
Yeah,
not everybody had flat screens in the mid 2000s.
Everyone's
but
got
like
the tube, man.
everyone has a tube. So I was like, I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a blend of the late 80s when Odessa Permian was actually when the story was actually taking place.
But they have cell phones.
Right. Well, like that's
Yeah.
that's the blend. It's kind of like a mixing of the two, where it's like, okay, it's supposed to be 2006, but also we gotta show how crazy this town is, so they gotta probably have this on TV somehow. So that's kind of the blending of realities.
And again, to get back to it, the thing that drives me most is that this is an easy miss. Is what this is. This is one you should make because. Why don't you just the same thing with when Jason Street was watching the game in the hospital room?
Yeah, just make it the radio.
Just make it the radio.
Yeah.
You've already got the radio announcers
Yeah.
there. Just make it the radio, and then it's 100% like, oh, I can buy it. But instead, twice now they've watched a non-playoff, a regular season game on television, and it's insane to me.
That's funny.
It's not great. Point two. We've beaten that horse
Oh,
to
yeah.
death,
Yeah.
and we probably will continue to do it, but it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Anyway,
I mean, they're gonna watch more games on TV.
yeah,
This whole sick show.
and you know that the playoff structure and all this stuff's never going to make sense.
yes.
They're just going to build drama how they build drama.
Well, I will forgive them because they had to make an entire season fit into one season,
No, I get it.
like an entire
Yeah.
football season. So
No,
I could see
yeah.
like, I
They
could.
had plenty
It
of
can't. They
time that
can't
they
fit
weren't
how many
playing
games
football,
are in a state title run?
16.
16.
Oh, in a
Yeah.
playoff
In a,
run.
yeah,
Texas
including the
football.
playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
16.
Galena Park North Shore went 16-0.
Right. So I wouldn't, making it roughly 13, I guess, 14
Yeah.
games in this. It doesn't to make it fit in the season.
Right.
I can forgive them.
Right or wrong? If you catch, I think in one of the first 12, episode 12, episode 13, the team is practicing, and the cheerleaders are just there, like practicing too, like on the sideline, like it's a game, so they're all practicing together. No, the cheerleaders do not practice on the football practice field ever. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, and by the way, we know they have a gym.
Right.
So that's the thing. We know
Yeah.
they have a gym. So, yeah, there's no reason.
Usually
for
because
this to be
neither
on the
wants to practice with each other there.
Why would a coach
Like,
let them?
Why would
Yeah.
a coach let them? Why would the cheerleading
Like
coach
he
want to be
need-
there?
like he
the,
needs-
the cheer coach would want to have their own space.
Like Eric Taylor trusts Smash Williams to keep his damn mouth shut when the cheerleaders are right there the whole time.
Also true.
Oh my gosh, they just keep giving Smash Williams a microphone.
Yeah, we'll get to
live
that.
microphone.
We'll get to that later. Again.
No, I totally agree with you. Like, there's no reason. Like everyone's got to get some time on the field.
Yeah.
The drill team needs time on the field. The band needs time
Right.
on the field. The cheerleaders do need time out there on the field. But generally speaking, that's why you schedule things in a way that they won't overlap because you do kind of need the whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part bugged me. I couldn't take it. All right, I'm quickly moving on. Right or wrong, Jason Street's family suing Eric Taylor. We sort of touched on it last time, but now we know kind of how it all plays out. Greg.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a no here. Generally speaking, you sign some sort of waiver
Right.
whenever you play
Right.
high school football
Right.
that absolves the school and especially the individual coaches.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Like
Yeah.
they didn't
Of their
They kind of
responsibility.
hinted at it that it was kind of them mostly suing the district, but it always seems to go back to them suing Coach Taylor personally.
Right.
Right.
But I was like, wouldn't if this were to happen, they would sue the district.
Correct.
And not necessarily, yeah, because I don't know. They talked about it where it was like, oh, we're suing the district, but every time it always goes back to Coach Taylor individually, and like he's the one personally doing the interacting with the lawyers and stuff like that. And I was like, that's definitely not how it would work.
Y'all, if we can get political here for a moment,
Oh.
teachers' unions do exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Eric Taylor is a state employee. He would never be individually sued by a player for negligence or whatever they're alleging. Yeah, I was absolutely baffled by that. And then, by the way, let's just talk about Jason Street just going rogue and completely ignoring his lawyer's advice and saying, actually, here's a number I will scribble on a piece of paper and pass it
Okay,
around.
This is
This
the
is
money.
the money I want.
And can we talk about that number for a second? Because the number is like, this will take care of, you won't lose the house.
Take care of the debt.
This will take care of the debt. That's probably
a
a
lot of
huge
money.
number. And everyone's just kind of like, where does Eric Taylor get this money?
Yeah, Coach Taylor's
Like, how is he?
That's reasonable.
There's no way.
He's got a job at TMU, man. He's
Well,
breaking in the dough.
Yeah, but this is kind of right before that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sure he will be able to pay it, but it is sort of like everyone's just fine with it.
He should have scribbled down like this is the money that would take care of it.
Yeah.
And then Taylor looks at it, he's like, what? Oh my god, like he's like, oh god, no.
Like his eyes pop out like,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a lunatic, son. I'll see you in court.
Right. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. This one I think they got pretty dang right. Right or wrong, the way Coach Taylor handles Smash's steroids problem.
Ish.
I think from a rules perspective, he basically says if I turn him in, his football career is over.
Yeah.
And if I don't and we get caught, we're all hosed.
Yep.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think there are coaches that are willing to they don't want to ruin a kid's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he realized the pressure that he was under. He realized the pressure that he put on himself. Whether it was right for him to put that much pressure for the future of his family on, whether he was right for him to put the future of his family on his shoulders, right? That's one thing. But he realized that he did, and he felt that kind of pressure, and so obviously he made a drastic call to take steroids in the first place. And I can see coaches, kid makes a mistake, that he's not going to ruin the kid's life.
Right?
It wasn't done maliciously.
Yes,
Right.
I
He didn't.
agree.
It wasn't
And
like his defensive player who fought an innocent kid. Right.
Yeah,
Who beat
and
up an innocent kid.
I would bet that has happened before.
Yeah.
Is that a coach will say, "Look, you screwed up, but we're going to keep this in house, and we're going to make sure that we handle this from our own perspective." And
I will keep a checks and balances
That's exactly
with you.
right. Yeah, you and I. Knowing full well that the coach is probably willing to take that risk. So yeah, that actually played pretty realistic to me. Is that I thought, okay, that does seem like what a coach would do when faced with that situation. Is say, no, we're going to take the risk that we're going to be able to keep this quiet. And, so far so good. Spoiler alert, but when we got to the end of the season, he hadn't been caught with steroids quite yet.
Yeah.
Right. This is a throwaway line. It's a total throwaway line, but I had to make this a right or wrong. When blessed boy Timmy Riggins goes back to meet his dad, they're driving in the truck, and he's like talking. He's like, "Oh, what do you think about the Cowboys?" And his dad goes, "The Cowboys? Oh, man, I think I'm going to become a Saints fan." Right or wrong? How many Cowboys fans became Saints fans in the last decade?
Woo.
Almost none.
I don't know, man.
What?
So,
What?
This is 2006. This is when the Saints were getting good.
Yeah, man.
And this is when the Cowboy. What? This
dude,
is.
I don't know.
This was. I
telling
think,
you.
I think,
Cowboys fans
I want to say
run
this was
deep.
Romo drops the snap around
Yeah.
that time.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like I could see
Cowboys-
some jump
yeah.
and ship, man.
Cowboys
Especially
fans-
Sean Payton too,
For sure.
former coordinator. They're like, look what's
I
cooking
disagree,
over
man.
there.
What?
Oh,
I don't think-
that
They run deep, but
definitely
they are
happened.
bandwagon fans, man.
I-
definitely
There are a lot of them.
I think it happened.
I don't think it happened.
I don't want to
that
say a
much.
lot of them, but I want to say there were some where it's like, you know what, the Saints are fun, man. They got Reggie Bush. They got Drew Brees now.
I think Tepper. I think you
No, I
gravely
disagree.
underestimate the number of bandwagon.
I don't want to
Cowboys
say
fans.
in Dallas that happened.
Yeah,
Across the state. I think
you
East
know
Texas,
what?
They pulled some. They pulled
I can
some
get
from
away
East
with
Texas.
So you're
for
saying
the
they're pulling
Saints.
like a Trill Ballins, and
pulling-
that they're like
Right.
they're rooting for the Warriors and Duke and all of them.
Right. They're
I-
telling you.
Did it happen somewhere? Yes.
Yeah.
Was it widespread? I would say no.
Oh, you're full of crap. You're full of crap. There's no. I'm telling
I'm
you.
gonna stick up for Cowboys.
I will
fans.
say it was hyperactive in both ways. There were some I think that defected, and then some that just really just started to hate the Saints. Like the
That's
Saints
right,
weren't on
yeah.
anybody's radar when they
Right.
were Cowboys fans, and then they
Right.
got good. And with Sean Payton, it was like, oh God, all right, I hate the Saints. They're
Yeah.
one of the it seems like the Eagles, Giants, and Saints are like Cowboys hate. Anyway, we're getting off on an NFL tangent, but
That's fine.
I do think it's partially true.
I think it's definitely true. Right or wrong? The Powder Puff game being during the danged state playoffs.
No.
And the players coaching it during the danged
Not
state
just-
playoffs.
I will say that was a nice touch.
Yeah, the coaches. That is definitely
It's a
how it
nice
works,
touch.
is that
It's a
players do
great.
coach
It's
it.
a
Yeah.
great storyline. But this game happens in the spring.
Absolutely. It doesn't just happen not only during the playoffs, it doesn't happen during the football season.
Yeah.
There are so many things that happen during the football season in Dillon, Texas
Yeah.
that are so superfluous. For example, they're about to play in a state semifinal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a roast
Yeah.
before the game?
The football banquet is before the season's over?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Who has a banquet before the season's over?
Yeah.
There's so much superfluous crap that goes on during the football season. I guarantee you that Texas high school football coaches, if they were faced with this amount of crap, they would start saying, no, we're going to start focusing on, I don't know, football. It's so bizarre. I don't know. It was very, very odd.
I had to throw that one in
Yeah.
there. All right, this one, right or wrong. I think a lot of people watch this who may be unfamiliar, and they kind of roll their eyes and go, oh, come on. Kids would never do this.
Right.
Players threatening a walkout in the middle of the season. Right or wrong?
I would say
Look, it doesn't happen every year,
No.
Right.
but this has happened.
this has happened.
This has happened.
I would say that the only thing that makes this a little bit feel weird is that this is a winning team that's playing in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
generally speaking, that seems to be a salve over most of the
Right,
wins.
yeah. Typically, this is something that happens week 3 or something.
Yes.
Like it's boiling over from fall camp. An incident happens really early in the season, and it boils over before really the middle to end of district is when things start to get serious. Right?
Yes.
They need to win. We need to get in the playoffs. And so by that time, you're kind of settled as a team. But until then, there's still some animosity. There's still some players that may not get along or relationships that might not be smooth. So I'd say, this is definitely an early season thing.
Yeah.
The walkout is believable.
Right.
Yeah.
The timing of the walkout makes me a little bit I don't know
Right.
about that.
Yeah. I have covered a walkout. It was week 6 or 7, and that team went on to win the state championship in 2007.
Well, how about that?
There you go.
You can catch all the details in my book, Drive for 5, at
God.
ltfootballbook.com.
Is that the whole point of this?
No.
Plug.
Is this
No,
is this
but-
why we're doing this?
Well,
is this
it's-
why we're watching this show?
The
So you
plug-
can plug your book?
The plug is not why. But I knew from experience that it does happen, right? And I could see people being very skeptical of it.
And it sometimes works to bring a team
But
together.
yeah, but
Right.
to your point,
Yeah.
it happened in week 6 or 7.
Right,
It
right.
didn't happen.
You were dead on. I don't see this happening before a state semifinal or whatever they were saying it was. State. I can't remember. This is a thing that's come up a couple times in reference that just doesn't seem. I mean, obviously is wrong. We're just. I mean, right off the bat, right or wrong, how a coach's salary is paid and who makes the decisions about the coaching staff. I want to point to two instances in all of this. Basically, Buddy Garrity, the head booster,
Right.
says, you got to fire the assistant coach. We voted on it. The booster club voted on it, and the assistant coach has got to go. And then later on says, we pay your salary.
Yeah.
The boosters pay your salary.
What-
ad
did he
sales, and the boosters pay your salary.
Okay, yeah, I missed that part because I was like, was he meaning the people of the town, or is
No.
it okay? He said ad sales. Okay, that's
Basically saying that the booster club is in charge of staff
that is
personnel.
a successful booster club. Let's just say first of all,
yeah, and the funding of those salaries for
No.
government employees,
Correct.
which they are specifically called at different points in the episode as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about
Yeah.
it, is that they're trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
Of it. Now, there's a very small kernel of truth in this, in that booster clubs can offer the coach a little bit of extra, in the sense that, for example, it's not rare for a coach to get a good deal on a car or
Right.
something like that.
especially
That
from somebody like a Buddy Garrity.
Right.
Yeah.
If Buddy Garrity were going to say, "Hey, I'm going to pull your car note if you don't fire the coach," I would buy that. But he's still making his $80,000 or whatever he is,
Right.
from the school district, which is where he gets the majority of his money. So
Yeah.
the school district
That was really odd.
is who pays him,
Yeah.
not Buddy Garrity and the booster club. This isn't some
Yeah.
volunteer organization.
Also, the whole scenario where Buddy's they're slipping money in the players' lockers.
That
and
was
stuff.
really weird.
The timing makes no sense.
Why, yeah,
Like,
before state,
go win state. Here's some money.
Yeah.
Give them the money after they
after
win state.
Yeah,
they never brought it up again.
have
by
a
the way.
scandal after. Yeah, it's just like, oh, Saracen, who gave you that money? Oh, I just found it. He's like, oh, it's Buddy Garrity, and then he talks to him and Buddy Garrity kind of gives him a thank you. You're a good man. Good luck at college, and that's kind of it.
It was so bizarre.
It wasn't like
It was just hey, buddy. Or I should say,
you
buddy,
tried
hey, man,
to pay my
here's-
quarterback.
Here's $200.
Right. Here
It's
you go.
See ya.
It's a
Like,
lot.
what did Buddy Garrity want in exchange for that?
I don't even know. That's like I said. If you want to pay them, like,
I don't know.
Thank you for winning state. Here's $500.
Right. But,
Okay.
like, he just left it in his locker. And, like, apparently he didn't know who it was. Saracen was
Yeah.
just like, oh, someone just left this in my locker. I don't.
Yeah.
There's $200.
I
That's
don't
really
know.
nice, but I don't.
All right. Past the rights and wrongs. Memorable
Oh,
moment.
I do want
okay,
to.
go ahead.
I have
Go
one more that
ahead.
wasn't
All
on the list,
right.
actually.
Okay.
I believe it was against Royal Rock, which is Round Rock. But,
Round Rock. We'll get to that.
He lets, right or wrong, he lets Matt Saracen. He goes with Matt Saracen's game plan. That Matt Saracen was scouting that week. He notices some holes in the defense.
That was against the Stony Point team.
Oh, the Stony Point. There you go. There
Their
you go.
safeties sit back.
Their safeties
Yeah.
sat back, and
Yeah.
they later revealed that it's because they're the fastest safeties in the state or country or whatever. And he kind of lets Matt Saracen on the last play run with his game plan, and he basically calls the play at the end. And right or wrong.
Here is
Yeah,
what
good call.
is crazy about this
Mhm.
is that you have a guy in Matt Saracen who appears to be developing football mind.
Right.
He's not a genius by any mind,
Yeah.
but he's studying a lot of film.
Mhm.
And he comes to you and he says, "Hey, here's a weakness from the team."
Yeah.
And yours is like, and your response to that is like, "Go away. I've got my own."
Like he wouldn't encourage him.
Right,
No,
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you may
That's
not.
the
You
thing,
may
yeah.
not like take the lesson right away. Like you may
He might
not
be like, this is game
now
plan
the game
A,
plan.
yeah.
But you'd be like, wow, you're doing your homework.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this.
Coach Taylor's inability to put his team in the best position to win consistently
Yeah.
is baffling.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, I have no doubt that he's a good X's and O's coach and he's
Yeah.
a good motivator, but at the same time, he makes some absolutely stunning decisions
Yeah.
that don't put his team in a position to win.
Yeah, I will say the decision at the end, because he does. In the end, he does give Saracen the chance to implement his game plan. That's true. That happens.
Yeah.
Like coaches look
Yeah.
at their quarterback and is like,
Yeah.
"What do you see?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"I see this. I can. Can you hit this pass? I can hit it." And like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, boom. Because
Yeah.
that was kind of the thing was. He could hit him with a slant over the middle, but the safeties were so quick that they could get there. And he's like, "Can you hit that pass?" He's like, "Oh, I can hit it."
Yeah.
And they put the game in their hands.
A lot of times
happens.
that'll happen at halftime. That's those conversations that are happening in the locker room.
Yeah.
Is what are you seeing out there?
Mhm.
And then the coach will say, "This is what I'm seeing from the sideline," and then
Yeah.
maybe whoever is up in the booth is saying, "This is what I'm seeing from on top." Let's come together and figure out how we can best make these adjustments. That's what those halftime adjustments really are.
Right.
To do it on the last play is very odd.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, finally, all right, we're getting our butts kicked. We got one more chance. Saracen, what were you saying the other day before I interrupted you?
Yeah, we're getting killed.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's right.
Yeah.
But the ends didn't exactly justify the means of the story.
Right, right.
It's very confusing, but neither here. That's a good addition. I like that one.
Okay.
That's
Can I
good.
add one more?
Yeah, go for it. Uh-oh.
Hey guys, right or wrong, playoff games are usually on your home field, and everything you just get to host them every playoff
Yeah.
game. You don't play a playoff game away from your
Yeah.
home until you play at Texas Stadium. Right or wrong, guys?
Wrong.
Yeah, no neutral sites in this, in this
No!
playoffs at all.
Guys,
Yeah.
almost every Texas high school football playoff game is played on a neutral site that the coaches will come together. Now, there are instances in which coaches will flip for home field advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, especially deep in the playoffs, they're flipping for if it's a Houston team playing an Austin team.
Yeah.
Then the Austin team will say our home field will be DKR, the Texas wherever Texas plays.
Yeah.
And the Houston team will say our home team will be NRG. We'll play it at where the Texans play. And then they flip the coin. There is a way to do that. The idea of flipping for home field advantage in a state semifinal to play at home, no coach would agree to that.
Yeah.
No, like you have to come to an agreement even before you flip the coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no coach, like they would just run that up to the UIL and say, "No, I'm not going to go play at your home field."
By the way, his makeshift home field.
And then,
Yeah.
Because they
they have the train derailment,
Yeah.
and they decide, "Oh, you know where the best place for us to play is, since
can't
we have
lose our home field.
we have got this amazing home field advantage that we suddenly can't use,
Yeah.
is we're going to play not at this beautiful stadium that happens to be a little bit closer to Brant. Instead, we're going to play in a cow pasture
Yeah.
that we spent thousands of dollars renovating,
Yep.
as opposed to going to a place that might be a little bit closer to Brant."
Yeah. Which, if we
Oh my gosh.
while we're on this subject, we've essentially established that I think, based on the geography little notes that come from this, that Dillon is essentially San Angelo.
Right.
Or slightly east of San Angelo.
Yeah, because they talk about like Austin's 2 hours away.
Dallas is
and,
4 hours away.
Right.
Yeah,
Dallas is
yeah.
4 hours away. Austin's 2 hours away.
They
And so if
stop-
you go a little east of San Angelo, they stop at
Stonehenge 2,
Stonehenge 2,
which
which
is
is
kind
out
of
that
west
way.
of Kerrville.
Right.
Maybe not northwest enough to be San Angelo, but it's kind of that area.
I think you're right.
In
Now,
between Mason and
Google
San
Maps.
Angelo.
Google Maps says it's 4 hours and 7 minutes from San Angelo
Right.
to Dallas, so that checks out. I think that we
Somewhere
found-
between Mason and San Angelo.
Yeah.
So the reason this ties in is the stadium that they were trying to agree to was the Palace on Palmer,
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
which is pretty, and Brant is Bryan,
Right.
Yes.
which is basically College Station.
Yeah.
That's a neutral site.
That's a super
That's a
neutral
neutral
site.
site based on the new he may be right. It's like 20 miles closer, but we're talking about like 140 miles each way to
Yeah.
the state. Like it's a very neutral site.
Yeah.
No,
That was funny.
the
Just-
idea that they had so many playoff games at home
Yeah.
is just staggering to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It does happen every once in a while, but not when you get deep in the playoffs because coaches start saying, no, we're not going to flip for home and home,
Right.
like true home and home.
Right.
Simply because there's a 50% chance you have to go to their place.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and I understand that like, so another thing we have to recognize here is apparently Coach Taylor has has every bit of authority to make the decision on where this game is played. So he is head coach and athletic director. That is what he is. He
Right.
would have to be in order to wield that kind of power. But he's not the only one who's making these decisions.
Right.
Like he's got a boss too.
Yeah. And it's not Buddy Garrity.
And it's not Buddy Garrity. It's a superintendent of some kind.
Yeah.
He does have a boss, and so the idea of just saying, oh, you know what? No, we're going to play in this cow pasture.
Which, well, a fun story.
A fun
That's what
story, and I get it,
yeah.
but like,
That's when superintendent
And-
comes in and is like, excuse
and,
me.
and you better believe. By the way, you better believe that they're playing Brant. Is that right?
Yeah.
Brant would have filed protest immediately.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And said, nope.
I'll
This
say-
is a travesty.
Made
Yeah.
for a cool scene. You know, everyone's
Yeah.
in the rain, the mud and the flying everywhere. And it's,
Right.
you know, the episode's called The Mud Bowl. So, like,
Right.
it looked great. Would never happen. But it looked great. And so,
Oh
of course,
my
that's what you do for the
gosh.
drama.
And you spend thousands of dollars renovating this stadium.
Oh, it just turns to crap immediately.
Thousands of dollars to paint the lines, to get the scoreboard out there, to get lights out there, to
Yeah.
do all this fun stuff.
And it's just a mud pit.
And your superintendent's like cool with this?
Yeah. It's a lot. All right, memorable moments.
Okay.
We'd have to start with the Mac McGill
Oh, God.
racism scandal. Now, we're going to get to a lot of things. I think, number one, we all agree we're glad they tried to tackle this topic. And
Sure.
in general, while I think we're all sort of annoyed at how it ended.
Mhm.
I also think that might be how it would actually end, which is kind of the point,
Fair.
too. I was thinking about that. We'll get to that in a second.
Yep.
Number one, this all starts because after a game, the offensive coordinator has just got like multiple reporters chatting him up and trying to get him to say racist things.
I will say, I think Taylor was in his office, I've seen that happen to where, not usually after a
Right.
game, but I've seen like, hey, McGill, talk to them.
Yeah.
I got to do
Yep.
something. Right?
Yep.
And for all intents and purposes, McGill is almost he's assistant head coach
Assistant head
probably. And so
Fixture of the
I could
community,
see
20
right,
years or
fixture of
something.
the community.
Yeah,
So
yep,
it's like,
yep.
he's got it, no big deal.
Right.
He'll give them what they
Yep.
want. And so I could see him being in that scenario in the first place.
Right.
But yeah, here comes that prodding media we talked about in the first episode,
my
where it's just
God.
like they're just baiting him into racist thing. By the way, Victor Diaz,
Yeah. A real
Diaz's
real
Spectrum.
reporter.
trying to prod him into racist answers, sir.
Yeah.
You are not nice.
So
Love you, Victor.
So they have this, first of all, an offensive coordinator. This is post game, by the way.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is post game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
A scrum. So we've all been on beats before.
Yeah.
Like we've all been doing game, like post game stuff. How many times in a post game
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
have you ever gone and talked to a coordinator?
Never.
I did it once because
have to be
the
a-
game-winning play was such a crazy call.
Fair enough.
It was it was like a double
Yeah.
reverse pass
made you wanna do
in
that
like
call?
the final
Right,
30
right,
seconds.
right,
right.
So anyway, that was the only scenario. It was special.
I only do it when I'm trying to bait the person into saying
Correct.
something
Yes.
racist.
You're just like, come on. You know you want to say something about how white quarterbacks are smart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, no disrespect, but all disrespect to the fellow members of the Texas high school football media mafia, as they love to be called. none of them are asking these questions.
No.
Not like
Absolutely
these
not.
are NFL reporter level questions
Right.
with an intensity meant for the front page of ESPN and the New York Times. The San Angelo Standard or whatever is going on out here, or the Dillon Daily Herald.
Or how about when in state when they're asking him about the job?
The job.
And he's like, I'm not talking about that. He's like, you didn't answer my question. It's like, no one's doing that.
No. Bless them all, including
White House
us.
press corps media over
Yeah,
here. Like,
there is not this level of interrogation.
yeah.
No, there's not. And that's, by the way, shout out for all the people who our high school football insider, Matt Stepp, breaks a lot of coaching news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And a lot of people get upset with him sometimes because he will tease things.
Right.
Because he'll say, oh, I'm hearing that Johnson High School is going to hire a DFW area head coach. And he won't say the name.
Yeah.
Now you understand why.
Yeah.
courtesy.
The reason he won't is because you don't want kids finding out that their coach is leaving through the media. That's
Yeah.
not the media's job.
Yeah.
It's the coach. The coach deserves that opportunity.
It's a courtesy to the coach.
And so
and
I would say,
and also like he could not get the job.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's like, well, he just burned a source.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Exactly.
it's a common courtesy to coaches to not put them in those situations. So.
yes, to say, hey, I'm going to tell my kids at noon. So if you'll hear that all the time from Stepp.
Right.
He's telling his kids at noon, so I can tweet it at 12:30.
Right.
Something like that. And that's the common courtesy that you'll see. We are monsters in the media, but we're not that much of monsters, is
Right.
what I'm saying.
Okay, now that we've got the technical aspects of this out of the way, the two white guys in the room are going to step out of the way while Ishmael analyzes how they handled this.
This is Greg just going far away. This is a very 2018-19 episode or story with
Right.
a very 2006 ending.
Right.
I like that they tackled it. I like that you can come back, Greg. I like that Smash Williams kind of took up the onus as the leader of the team, as the leader of the black players on the team as well, staging that walkout, taking responsibility, and I thought that was handled well. I thought it was handled well literally up until the end. I thought that the decision that Smash going through this revelation of, because originally he was just going to play. He's like, it's just how coach is. Let's go.
Right.
And Waverly, his girlfriend, was like, no, that's really racist. And
he's super racist.
Like, you shouldn't be playing for this guy. And so after having that revelation for him, saying that, okay, maybe I shouldn't be playing for this guy. Maybe I should be standing up for something, showing him, because he showed no remorse either in his apology.
Right.
And so showing that has consequences in that way of staging a walkout and staging something a little bit bigger than himself and bigger than football, that was a very modern way of doing that, right? It was something that I was kind of shocked to see from a TV show about 10 years ago, where it was probably jumbled a little bit looser, and he probably would have, I don't know. It was, like I said, it was a very modern take on it. The ending is where it fumbled for me, because Tim Riggins this whole time shows no remorse to any of the black players.
Yeah.
Basically says, what are they crying about?
Yeah.
And then gets in a fight on their behalf, and then it's all solved.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, was he getting in a fight because that was just his teammate? Or was he like, oh, this dude's being a racist to my teammate?
Right.
And I think it was the former, not the latter.
Right. But and it's kind of like we talked about. It gets his like redemptive arc is only further redeemed by the fact that at least it happened in public.
Right.
Like he did something publicly to defend
he
his
didn't,
black teammate.
It wasn't like, if this would have been like Tim Riggins walks out the practice before the game.
Right.
Tim Riggins walks out, he's like, they're not playing, I'm not either.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I would have bought that.
Right? That would have been something like, oh, okay, he's standing up in private to just his team and his coaches.
Yeah.
And he's doing something that's really effective, right? And showing solidarity.
Yeah.
He just kind of fought somebody on the field.
Yeah.
I didn't like how Smash and them just came back to the team, but I understood where that had to go. Like they were all risking their future. They didn't want to compromise their own future.
Right. It's not a satisfying ending, but like I was kind of saying before, kind of a realistic.
It's kind of a realistic ending. And the more I thought about it, the ending with McGill bugged me at first.
Yeah.
I'm more okay with it.
The
Riggins one still bothers me, but the McGill ending, I'm more okay with it because he
basically Smash said, well, like, like, I don't like you, but we have to tolerate each other, so we're going to tolerate
each other. And for somebody of that, he did a good job of hammering home his own upbringing and saying, like, this is just how we talked, and, like, this is, I'm sorry, like, I know I'm trying myself.
Right.
And so for him, at the end saying, I made a mistake, or they made a mistake just like I did about the cops that pulled him over, I could see that in his own words being
an apology,
right? It's not satisfying, but again, they also did a good job of saying that he's trying this. It's new to him.
Right.
He's not very good at it, at apologizing.
No, he's not.
And so that, to me, that was more authentic than his actual phoned-in apology.
The other thing for me is I feel like Taylor should have accepted the resignation.
Yeah.
So this is the other
thing.
This is the other low-key kind of thing here. Like,
he just says, he's staying.
He's kind of a politician, obviously.
Right.
But coaches
You
have
have
to
to
be.
be.
But this episode, he's kind of a coward. Like, he just doesn't,
he's definitely got some coward.
And
sure.
it's a tough. There's a lot going on here, and
Right.
he's battling a lot of things, as we've talked about in the previous episode. As a coach, you're trying to serve a lot of different people with a lot of different viewpoints, right? But it sort of just paints this whole. I don't really want to make a decision.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't want to make a decision.
Right.
Well, buddy. You know,
kind of
now
what
he
you're
at the end of the day,
bucks.
he does, and I think when he makes that decision, you're sort of hoping, he's got an idea of where this is headed.
Sure.
Like, I'm gonna make everyone learn to get along or something, but that's not really what happens. It's just sort of like we're all just uncomfortably back together because we have to be.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be.
Yeah, and it's
You can
just kinda,
Mac? Am I to believe that Mac McGill is the glue that holds this program together?
He certainly doesn't seem that way in any of the upper episodes.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know. I thought that you had a perfect get out of jail free card, and as soon as he walks in and he lays down that letter of resignation, I go, okay, cool.
He
settled.
walks out on his own terms.
That's settled.
Exactly.
And you don't have to be the bad guy. You can say, I accepted Mac McGill's resignation. We're sorry to see him go, but I understand why he did it. And you move on. Instead, he lets the distraction linger.
Yeah.
Again, a coach who does not put his team in the best position to win.
Yep.
Anyway, let's move on to something a little lighter.
I'm going to love these comments.
Which
on
is
YouTube.
hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Buddy Garrity gets caught adultering.
Again. Apparently again.
Apparently. And his solution is he's going to crash at Coach Taylor's house.
I thought
this guy is a booster, runs a car dealership, certainly has money.
Yep.
Eventually does stay at a hotel when he can't stand living at the Taylor's house anymore.
Right.
But his first choice is, I'm going to live with the Taylors.
Well,
what?
Here's why I believe that. It's because Buddy Garrity literally breathes Panther football, and he probably thinks Eric Taylor's his best friend in the world.
Now, here you
and
are
so he was
so
like,
right.
and so he's like, I'm going to crash at my buddy's
You
place.
hit the nail on the head. Is that this is an unbalanced relationship,
right?
In the sense
That's a good way
that
of putting it.
Coach Taylor views dealing with Buddy Garrity as a necessity.
Part of the
He
job.
views it as something that I have to do as part of my job. I have to deal with him. I think in a vacuum, if they had no other, like if they were just two guys who lived in town, they would not interact.
Right.
But they are forced together at that point. Buddy Garrity believes that he has purchased the friendship of the coach.
Yeah.
And as a result, he gets to stay at his house. And if you're Coach Taylor, like I think that he would say yes to that because, he's kind of
Powerful booster.
but he's not friends with him.
Right.
So I actually found this to be particularly realistic,
Yeah.
that I could absolutely see this happening in the sense that Buddy Garrity believes that he has bought a friend. And Coach Taylor is looking at him, and you are a constituent, and I need to deal with you in that perfect way.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to keep you happy, I will do this until my wife wants to wring my neck.
Yeah.
Okay. The Rally Girls, right?
Oh, God.
They're
First of all, terrible representation of Rally Girls.
right.
Like, that's
they
just
are
very offensive representation of
They're
Rally
very scantily clad teenage girls who kidnap people and take them to hot tub parties with beer and then take pictures everywhere. This is definitely a pre-Facebook movie, by the way.
Right.
Pre-social media.
Can I have the single cam for a moment?
Yes, here you go.
Hi. I'm Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, speaking to you on behalf of Rally Girls. Because Rally Girls are not these just women running around haughtily, a scantily clad kidnapping men and drinking beer and all this
seducing them
chicanery. Rally girls are an important part of the Texas high school football landscape.
Yep.
That treat themselves with a pretty good amount of self-respect and aren't out there just throwing their dignity to the wind just because the sophomore starting QB1 has walked by. So, on behalf of the Texas high school football world, I would like to apologize to rally girls everywhere for this absolutely terrible representation of you.
Perfect.
It's ridiculous.
That's perfect. That's exactly where I wanted to go with this,
Yep.
and the fact that this is clearly the pre-social media age. I don't know if you guys caught this. He's Coach Taylor's on the way to work with with his wife and daughter one day, and they're listening to the therapist.
Oh,
and he's like, "Why can't we listen to Sammy Mead? This man is obsessed with the
This man is
24-hour
ridiculing
radio
me."
show devoted to his football program."
Dude, that dude definitely has, at this point, Google alerts were still a thing. He definitely has a Google alert
Eric
for
Taylor.
his name.
Eric
Oh
Taylor
my
Dillon. Yes.
Goodness.
He has a Twitter search for his
Oh,
name.
by the way, can we talk about how funny that TV show is? The Eric Taylor
Oh,
show.
gosh.
It's like
Okay.
that he hosts himself.
He hosts himself?
Like,
Yeah.
no, that
Oh
never
my gosh.
happens.
Yeah.
How is there not, like, put Buddy Garrity up there.
Yeah.
Let Buddy Garrity ask
Yeah.
the questions. He's begging
Put
for
Sammy
airtime.
Mead. Put Sammy Mead. Why
Yeah.
isn't Sammy Mead
Right.
hosting the
Put
show?
somebody
with him?
on there. Instead, you're asking a football coach, like, go watch any coach's show at the college level.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
all with a host that does
It
radio.
is.
Yeah.
It's you're the coach, and I'm the guy whose job it is to tee you up.
Yeah.
Because that's not.
Yeah.
Never
I love that production.
Oh my
just
gosh.
look at
Just
some plays.
Ask him questions. What a horrifying television
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Who would watch that?
Have you seen how awkward Matt Saracen is? Who
Oh.
wants him hosting a show? Coach,
hey,
I just want to
Coach,
know, is Smash Williams going to play this weekend?
Oh yeah, dude. I am freaking sorry.
First of all,
but
the first
That was
the
great.
first
That was a
question
great
he
line.
asked.
That was a great line. It was awesome.
The first question he asks is about a decision on game planning.
Yeah.
yeah, that why would you like?
You're supposed to be
Do
on
you
the-
have no common sense?
Yeah.
Even if he is going to play or isn't going to play, why would you throw this out there for the opponent to go and play it for?
Yeah.
You're a terrible QB1, Matt Saracen.
He's still learning. He's still learning. I like we're go back to the we built a football field thing, and he's trying to talk. They're meeting at the cow pasture with everyone. There is a gaggle of media. What?
Okay,
And during the meeting, this is in front of the media. Taylor and the other coach are openly trash talking. Like, we'll
Right.
whip you up and down the field. None of this is
no, absolutely not.
what?
The other thing.
I would appreciate it if a coach. did
Right?
that,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm into it,
but, yeah.
guys. Phones work. Do you know where the majority of negotiations for where to play a game happen?
Yeah.
Over the phone. Most coaches these days, and I understand that again, we're in this kind of weird time warp where it's between 1980 and 2006. Most coaches at this point in 2019 will negotiate via text.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, "Hey, I'm thinking we play at the Berry Center. What do you think?" And they'll say, "Cool, sounds good. I'll make the call." Stuff like that. That's how it happens. It doesn't happen that you just show up at a cow pasture and go, "Well, I never." bruh." I don't. And by the way, do these coaches hate each other?
I don't know. I mean, like, he makes a comment when he sees the interview with him on TV before.
Yeah.
He's like, he's full of crap.
This is
Turn that
before the
off.
Mud Bowl,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
before the Mud
Well, I
Bowl.
mean, they kind of.
They
I
got-
don't know.
They
During
got
like,
attitudes, but
well, I think at the end they're kind of cordial because like when the refs want to call off the game, we're like, we want to keep going. It's like we do too, coach, and like, they shake hands and like
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe they're just fiery guys.
should
Yeah.
be dudes. I was originally during this game. I don't know if you guys noticed this. This bugged me at first, but I'm going to let it go because of the conditions. Brant goes up 8-0.
Mhm.
Dylan scores, and he always go for two. This is before halftime, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
why are you going for two?
Why not? You go for two all the time.
Yeah, right. Burn
on,
down
man.
football.
Yeah.
We know here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, I'm the #1 advocate for burn it down football, so
Yep.
I'm here for that. But I was a little confused. But then I thought about it. You're not kicking. You're not kicking.
Kicking
Oh,
is
in
going to
that
be a
ra-
problem.
You're not
Monsoon,
kicking
but
in that world.
in a vacuum,
In
and
a
this obviously
vacuum,
does
it's a
not
weird
happen. You're-
decision.
You're not chasing points.
I
that
think it's
early.
forgiven because of the weather conditions,
Yeah.
so I decided to let it go. All right, moving on to Spotted. Unless you guys have other memorable moments you want to bring up.
Can we talk about how Tim Riggins is apparently statutorily raped?
I can't remember if that's coming up.
Yeah, that is a.
Well, that was I was going to say under who's the worst, his neighbor.
Guys.
Though we don't actually know that Tim Riggins is not like 19.
Okay.
That's the
All
other,
right.
That should
Okay.
be the
Because
game. That should be the
apparently
game.
we are warned. Now we have not researched ahead, but we are warned that in the future we will be told that Riggins is much older than everyone else, and we will be aware of that.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't.
Have not made that clear
But
so far.
but I know where Tepper's going to go with this now, so I'll let him have it.
If he takes one snap next season, then that's statutory rape.
I don't know. Apparently, he's
There's
a
no
lot-
way he's 18.
It's.
He
I'm
might
just
be
sa- I'm
18.
just saying. The way that people
He
have
might be
explained it to me,
18.
he may already be 18. Still,
He might be 18. I mean,
Still.
I'm not.
Okay, so
arguing
he's going. So
against
you're
it.
saying he's
It's-
going to suit up as a 19-year-old.
I'm.
maybe.
It has happened. It has happened.
Maybe.
Things like that have happened.
We're going to
Number
cut him
one.
open and count the rings.
Number one. But number two, I'm going to defend your point with the fact that he gets annihilated in that bar fight, and they come rescue him out of it, and they're like, he's just a kid.
Yes.
If he's just a kid in a bar fight, he
Yeah.
probably should. The neighbor should probably not be hooking up with him.
At best, the best possible explanation, like the most generous possible explanation, she at least did not ask how old he is.
Right.
At
But she knows
least.
he's on
She
the
knows
high
he's
school
on the high
football
school
team.
football team, though.
She knows he's on the high school.
Yeah.
football.
She
That's
knows
still,
that.
nope. That's
All
nope.
right.
Nope.
Anyway.
Nope.
Moving on. Spotted.
Makes me really
The
tough.
Dunstan Valley Cardinals are actually the Del
Del
Valley
Yes.
Cardinals.
Which, by the way, I like that. If you know the demographics of Del Valley, the fact that they were the all-white school is pretty funny.
Pretty
Yeah, and
interesting.
apparently a very racist.
a very racist.
Kind of
all-white school.
fascinating the way they shot it, because I don't know if you noticed as well, when they get pulled over, they're outside the airport, which is over by
Oh,
Del
yeah.
Valley.
So it's
Oh.
geographically kind of
Geographically, it makes sense. Del Valley is over by the airport
Yep.
in Austin.
It's out in that area.
Anyway, the McNulty Mavericks are the McNeil Mavericks, and you would know that because their jerseys still say McNeil in big letters.
Yes, guys, this
It's
was
like, hey,
something.
you guys got to buy some white.
There
jerseys,
were
man.
there were two things. There were two things in this show. That
we're
made
getting to
me-
the other one.
The other one.
Yeah.
The first one was that it said, "Oh, they're playing McNulty," and it just says McNeil across the front. It doesn't say Mavericks. It says McNeil. They've done a pretty
Yeah.
good job of making sure it says the mascot.
Yeah.
The team.
But this
Yeah.
one,
Oh boy.
they probably
Yeah.
saw the jerseys like, crap.
Good enough. Nobody will read it.
I
This
don't
show
re-
thinks you're dumb.
I don't remember who the team was, but it's the Stony Point Tigers. That's
I have it right here. They were the South Pines.
South
Tigers.
Pines Tigers. There we go. We already mentioned the Royal Rock Dragons.
By the
or
way,
the
there's
Round Rock Dragons.
another thing to go back to the much like Arnett Mead.
Mhm.
There's
Yes.
the extra C on the helmet that's
Yeah.
never explained.
Yeah.
There's the extra T on
Well,
the
that's
helmet of Stony
Tigers.
Point. Oh, I
Yeah,
guess
it could be
that's
That's
Tigers,
the
yeah.
difference.
That's true. Never
Yeah,
mind. In my
yeah,
face.
yeah,
You're
in
fine.
your face.
Good job, Peterberg.
The Brant Vikings are the Bryan Vikings. The
Yep.
same moment. If you notice, the nameplate Vikings is clearly like stitched onto their jerseys.
Yeah,
Like
that was one that was like that's not on their jersey. That's not the Bryan jersey.
team that does not exist actually is the West Cambria Mustangs.
Yes.
Yes,
we
the
have
first
looked
time.
hither and yon. This
So-
is just an invented team.
I did some research.
Oh, here we go.
And so I looked into how many, and I can pull this up, but how many teams are black and gold, which is
Yeah.
the numbers, or which was the black, white, and gold that West Cambria, the Mustangs, were playing. How many black and gold Mustangs there are, and there now Mustangs is a pretty common name. Mustangs is actually the sixth most common Texas high school football mascot. 56 Texas high school football teams are the Mustangs. Only 2 of them are black and gold. The Andrews Mustangs, and they just have a big A on their helmet.
Right.
And the other one was Wheeler, and they just kind of have kind of like a Wisconsin W
Right.
on their
Okay.
helmet. So
Furthermore, if you go with the initials WC, I think with West Columbia.
West
but
Columbia,
they're baby blue.
they're baby blue.
Um,
I couldn't think of that was the first one that sprung
Yep.
to mind was West Columbia.
yeah.
Let me see if there's any other WCs. Let's see. I mean, you could. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of. I mean, it could be like Weatherford Christian,
Maybe.
but probably not.
Probably not.
I think this is definitely our first
And
fictional.
I've been told that more fictional teams are coming.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because
Yeah.
that's
Well,
kind of fun for us.
I can
like
and I can
Waco
understand.
Connolly,
Yeah.
but they're blue as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I can understand they were going to run out of because I mean it's Central Texas based, and
Right.
so like
Totally get
eventually
it.
teams are going to start saying no,
Right.
Because hey, no, you can't
Yeah.
use our uniforms
Right.
for
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was cool while it lasted. Though.
It was cool. It lasted. Stadiums. So we talked about the Palace on Palmer.
Yes.
Already mentioned that one. He's interviewing at TMU.
Yep.
And
There's the other one.
it's become very clear that most of what they use is Texas State.
Yep. Which, by the way, they superimposed the Austin skyline
Which
in the background.
And
That
they
was
made
pretty
the
funny.
stadium look bigger.
Yeah,
they
make it look like a bowl.
They made it look
no,
like
they
a
look
bowl.
like they make it look the horseshoe the other way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they look at the other
Yep.
side and it's open, but
Right.
it's
It's
reversed.
a
The horseshoe's on the other
the
side.
CGI horseshoe and then the Austin skyline in the distance, which I believe, based on the way it was located, makes it somewhere in East Austin, north of like Dishfalk Field.
Right,
Yeah.
somewhere
Like
around there.
north of the Austin or of the Texas baseball
Yeah.
field.
The, Ishmael.
and
And
softball complex.
I know you had something you wanted
Ishmael, where'd you go to college?
Texas State.
You went to Texas State.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's never gone. By, it used to be known as Southwest Texas.
Yeah,
State,
Southwest
right?
Texas.
SWT.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have they ever been known as TMU?
No.
Okay, then why would a school named TMU,
hmm
theoretically Texas Methodist,
Right, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
they're supposed to be.
why would it say Texas State in the end zone? Big and bold,
Because
and
there
hoping
it
you're not
is.
looking at it.
Yep. That was funny. I
Speaking
didn't do a
of
double
which-
take. I was like, does that still say Texas
It
State?
still says Texas State.
By the way,
Still got the Bobcat logo though
photo
on
of
the
that.
shirt.
Oh, yeah.
who was that
God.
that Eric Taylor was talking to?
Well, that will be current athletic director for Texas State, Larry Tice. Dr. Larry Tice was there.
Interesting.
Also, as well as former Texas State head coach Brad Wright, who was, I guess, playing a version of himself as the head coach of TMU. So, yeah.
Because he's going to be. Because the thing is, I believe that Eric Taylor is not getting the head coaching job at TMU.
Right, he's getting the
He's getting like a quarterback
coach.
coaching job, which I thought he was getting the job at UT.
Ah, he's so confused.
That kind of
just
just
kinda
flew out the
ditched
window.
that one, huh?
That just completely
jettisoned it.
So confused about the whole thing.
That was bizarre.
I can't tell if he's supposed to be the head coach, the quarterback's coach. None of it makes sense.
That,
I
by
think
the
it's
way,
I think it's quarterbacks.
and that has got to be, by the way, that has got to be a situation where Peter Berger, the coordinating producer, goes out there. They need a place to shoot.
Yeah.
And Larry
Tice.
Tice, thank you.
Yeah.
Larry Tice says, "Okay, you could shoot here for free,
But
we're in the show." That's got to be. That's the only way that happens, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
yeah, when I saw it, I did a double take because I went into school. Brad Wright's last year was my first year in school, so I didn't really get that familiar with how he looked.
Right.
And so I had to go back and recognize him. But right when it cut to Larry Tice, he just does kind of a silent nod, and I was like, "No way."
That's and that's so he was the coach before David Bailiff, right?
No, after
David
Bailiff, he was Bailiff's appointment basically. He's like,
Got
"Hey,
it.
look, this is my kind of my understudy," and then he was before Fran.
So he was the last one when they were an FCS program.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Because no one watching this show probably knows what you're talking about. That's fine. Finally spotted. I did a screen grab of this. You guys can't see it yet, but it'll be on the screen while we're talking about it. Is that the worst state championship hat ever?
Oh,
I can't even see that it says, like, his wife, like, ooh, cool hat. And it's like, what does it even say?
Guys,
It's terrible.
I wish we had one of
I
the
know.
ones we have now.
Here's the thing, like most of the so Texas high school football is trying to become really hip. It's really cool. Like Nike is invested and Adidas is invested and Under Armour, and they want to put together cool stuff. They would never put together your dad's cloth hat that just says Dillon Panthers are the state champions and stuff like that. By the way, thank you very much.
Nice.
For example, here's the Nike hat from this year. This is Texas tested.
Yeah.
I'll put it to this camera. This is the one that the kids seem to like. It says UIL on it. This is the one that you get when you play for a state championship, when you win the hat. What you don't get is one that you buy at a golf pro shop.
That they embroidered there for you.
Yes. Oh my
With
gosh.
world's #1 dad or
It
whatever
is.
in the football.
nice flat.
Two
bill
more
right there.
things.
So bad.
Two more things about the state championship,
Okay.
if I may. First, there is absolutely no freaking way Voodoo Tatum is playing for another team in that season.
After that scandal.
Ooh.
After that scandal.
Nope.
0%.
Nope.
Because the moment he walks on campus at West Cambria, there would be an appeal filed to the district executive committee, and it would be an open and shut case.
Yep.
Open and
He
shut.
gave an interview saying that his
open
time
to
at Dillon was illegal.
Also, here's another thing.
Yeah.
He starts actively recruiting Smash Williams.
right.
So he's not a senior either?
Yeah,
He's
right?
coming back. So he led the Louisiana team to a state championship as a sophomore.
Sophomore?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that what we're to
He is
believe?
really good, I guess.
Okay, that's
Demetrius
fine.
Davis did it this year for
There's
North
a 0% chance that he would be
playing.
playing.
No, this is
0%.
like the most corrupt thing
By the
ever.
way, the other thing is, I did like how the game played out because, like, all of a sudden, I mean, Dillon's had a good defense, we're supposed to assume all season. All of a sudden, they just stop him,
And they don't talk about it ever.
Like
Like
they
just
just
the one
shut
fumble?
him down. They
Like-
just absolutely shut him
Stop.
down,
Yeah.
and he's just
The
this
defense,
4 to
yeah.
5 star quarterback.
I will
is
say
just shut
the
down completely
state
in the-
championship game was not well written.
No, the
No.
state championship game was poor.
Did not have the same.
It was like
drama.
they were
And the
getting
other
beaten,
thing-
and then
Yeah.
they weren't.
So here's my other thing. Okay. So Smash Williams scores on the final play of the game to win a state championship. That would never happen.
Yeah.
Wink.
Wink. I'm sorry. That happened in 2018.
Yeah, right.
Google North Shore versus Duncanville. Okay. they won the final play.
Yeah.
They also won on the final play in the state semifinal.
Mhm.
That was in the state semifinal. That was among the rowdiest, most over the top
Yeah.
celebration
Yeah.
that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
That was the most low key.
It was
That
not-
was very
yeah.
Oh, hey,
subdued.
Yeah.
we won a state championship. How
Yeah.
about that?
We did it.
Isn't that cool? We're gonna have a small parade.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Which, if you've won a lot of state championships in a town,
They
I
won
sort of
one.
understand.
I
Well,
think it was-
no,
what?
they've
It was-
won. They've won them before. Well, I mean, like this team, but you know what I mean. The town has won many state championships.
Has it?
Yes.
Well, yeah, 'cause,
they're always wearing their rings and showing them.
Yeah, but I
the
thought that
dads
was
are
only
wearing-
one team.
No, because
No,
there's
no,
a couple
there's
of
different age
older
groups.
dads wearing them, and then,
And
there
then the
was,
young guy came to the homecoming and he had won a state
Coach
championship.
Taylor coached him
Okay.
before.
There's
Yeah.
multiple.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm with you,
Let's put it
but-
this way:
Right.
Alito just won their 8th state championship.
They're still
this
pretty
year.
fired up.
Yeah.
They were going pretty nuts when they
Yeah.
won the state championship, and that was a blowout.
Yeah.
I will say what they nailed. The team walking out onto the field for the first time and sort of taking it in and
Yeah.
being like, we are lucky in that we kind of live at that stadium that week and we get to see teams do
Yes.
that, and it never gets old.
You are. That is
Yeah.
the cool. Is one of the coolest moments. Is when especially smaller schools walk onto the field at what is now AT&T Stadium in Arlington, which is where they play the state championship games most years, and you see that moment of like, oh my gosh,
Ooh,
that
we're playing in
they
here.
absolutely nailed that. I don't know how they had dinner there,
Yeah,
but they
that was
did.
kind of weird. But
Another
Open up the star level.
another banquet.
Yep.
They're just-
Also,
this is a
Coach-
Yeah,
team
they just
that-
have like
this
7
is a,
banquets.
This is a city entirely comprised of banquet halls.
also, Coach Taylor's halftime speech, not that convincing.
That was
no.
not that convincing.
I thought he was gonna say like, I know
I'm-
you guys don't want to play for me, but play
Play
for
for each
play
other.
for each other,
Yeah.
play for
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah.
You just
No.
no.
That was a
It
that
was
was a
a-
poor, a very poor halftime speech.
All right, we got to get the rest of this out of the way in like how many minutes here? 10 minutes. All right. Okay. MVP of the second half of season 1, Greg Tepper, go.
Oh, it's tough, but I think I'm going to go with
Tim Riggins.
Tammy Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Tammy Taylor was excellent.
Also
in this. She was excellent. It's very clear that Connie Britton is maybe the best actor on this show.
Yeah, she's great.
She's terrific.
She's awesome.
I thought that everything that she did was at least pretty realistic. And I thought that Tammy Taylor was the most valuable member of the Friday Night Lights team in the back half of season 1.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Smash Williams.
Okay,
Ooh.
I
I'm gonna
like
Smash
it.
and by proxy, Waverly, his girlfriend.
All right.
Because she kind of brought out a new character in him, right?
Yes.
He's still the egomaniac, but he realizes that no, hey, guess what? Not everything's about me.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know, I there's this girl that I really like, and she wants me to be a little bit more well-rounded, and he's willing to do that, and he kind of sees the value in doing that, not just in regards to her, but kind of overall. Obviously, the race episode, the way he tackles that, he kind of emerges as a team leader off the field. And yeah, he shows some concern for her when she's going through her issues. You know, it's revealed that she's bipolar. He kind of talks to Lila about it a little bit. You know, he becomes a lot more well-rounded than just the weird, stuck-up, jock stereotype.
He's maybe the only character in the show who's had an arc so far,
Yeah,
like a
that's
true
right.
arc.
Yeah,
I
A
think
to
you're
B.
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
I think that's an excellent choice.
I'm going to go with Matt Saracen and Julie Taylor together.
Okay.
Boy, they make out a lot in front of her parents.
High school.
But I think that's why I enjoy them is just sort of she has brought out a sort of courage in him that is pretty great.
A confident,
yeah. The way the two of them sort of play off of Coach Taylor and Tammy Taylor is pretty hilarious. And I found as I started skipping over Lila and Jason and other scenes,
Yeah. Oh God.
as the last couple episodes happened, I would still stick with the Julie, Matt, and Coach Taylor. And
Yeah.
Tammy Taylor. Those are my, we
Those
talked
are
about
the
this
goats.
last time.
I could see them
Yeah.
being a good proxy of Coach Taylor and his
Yeah.
wife in high school.
Everything,
Right.
everything Smash does is compelling. Saracen is compelling.
Yeah.
The Taylors are compelling.
Yeah.
Probably about it.
That's probably about it. Who's the worst?
There's an easy answer.
Oh,
I think there's an easy.
I kind of had a tag team. I kind of had a substitution in mind.
I think
Alright.
it's obvious.
Okay.
It's Jason Street.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
He is.
It's a lot.
Is,
I will
mean,
say
dude,
the last couple episodes though make it a little bit.
He
easier.
gets like once now that he's got the job as the quarterbacks coach,
Yeah.
he
Now that-
actually has a purpose
That's
on
just
the
it.
show
And they've
as aside to just being
he and
the
Lila
worst.
have just let's just
Finally,
Yeah, right,
Lord,
mercifully
so
Put it
tired
down.
of it.
I was gonna say I had a. Well, I don't know if you're gonna finish your.
I
point.
was just gonna say that I think that like I get it, and I'm very sorry for what happened to you, but like my man,
He just wants to listen to Nirvana.
we gotta start moving forward.
Yeah.
Because right now you're the worst character on this show.
Yeah.
Now that he's the coach, I'm like the future is very bright for him.
Yeah.
But these past 11 episodes, he
Yeah.
was easily the character I wanted the most to go.
The
away.
last two episodes where he's like really drilling Saracen. And really kind of coming into his own, it's all really great. But everything before that, it's oh god,
God, just go
you're making the
away.
worst decisions and you're crying
I-
about it all the time.
I love how he meets one interesting girl in Austin, and all of a sudden he's like, "Wow, the girls are
Yeah.
awesome, and this is crazy. I never thought I would meet a girl
Now-
more interesting than Lila Garrity."
I will say I do think, and I think that you guys will agree with this.
Yeah.
And especially Max, growing up in a small, because you grew up in a pretty small town.
Yep.
You grow up in a small town, you go to a bigger town, and your eyes do get opened a little bit more, and there's a little bit
Absolutely.
more than
Life changes.
Life changes. So I bought that a little
Yep.
bit.
Yeah.
But it was like the first girl with a tattoo he ever saw was like, oh my god,
By the way,
she's
great
the
representation of girls in Austin. Like she's a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
She has piercings. It was,
She's just hanging out
She's
at-
like super nerdy, but also really attractive.
Right,
You know,
it was like
hanging out
I
at
was like,
wheelchair
oh, okay.
rugby tournaments.
It's like at
Yeah.
least he knows, Austin.
Yeah.
So.
I'm surprised they didn't do a cutaway at a roller derby somewhere.
So me.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
worst.
You're worst.
See, I kind of had a substitute. It was Lila and Street last time.
Yeah.
It's Lila and Buddy Garrity this time.
Yeah.
I think those last couple episodes, I'm starting to go with Street a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because those scenes when he was in Austin and when he wasn't moping over Lila and he's kind of realizing that, he's kind of realizing his new life, wheelchair-bound life and, his own goals and things like that. That was compelling for me, especially I love his, the friend character that he has that's always kind of telling him to suck it up. Yeah, suck it up.
Herc is a good character.
It's not just mopey, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, learn how to live now. I think that story is interesting to me with Street, and so that's kind of took him out of the worst for me.
Yeah.
Lila and Buddy Garrity.
Yep.
God, Buddy Garrity staying over at Eric Taylor's house, moping around.
Yeah,
then
Buddy
spying on the notepad.
Buddy Garrity,
Spy- yeah,
you may
oh,
remember
no,
last
nope.
time I said Buddy Garrity was my number one character. He has
Yeah.
tumbled down the power rankings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so him and
Bad.
Lila now because
Yeah.
I just do not
By the way,
care
so
about Lila now.
Lila trashes dad's car dealership, and we never hear about it.
Yeah.
Again.
It just happens and it's fine.
Just,
When she takes
smashes
the
like
car
4
back-
cars.
When she takes the car back, there's no trace of damage to the car dealership.
Yeah, she's just returning the note.
Yeah.
I have
There you
no
go. I
idea,
want
but
this.
yeah. So Lila's still the worst, and Buddy Garrity's joined her now
Yeah.
because everything with every scene of him like trying to explain to his wife about the his affair and all that. It's just
Dude,
it's
and that's the
bad.
thing
I
is that
hate
is
it.
that is that he got caught cheating, and then he's there arguing with her. I'm like, what could you possibly be saying
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now,
It
dude?
was
Bad
And then he's like,
parents.
I'm gonna give her a photo album.
My vote for who's the worst bad parents. Tim's dad, Buddy
Yeah.
Garrity, and Tyra's mom.
And-
Oh God,
Can we just
that's a good one.
sweep
That's a
them
good
all
one.
out?
Bo's dad too. Remember,
Oh God, Bo's
because
dad.
you're not checking ID before you're
Yeah.
hopping in the sack with Tim Riggins.
Oh God, that's
Bo's mom, you mean?
Bo's mom.
No, yeah,
Bo's
Bo's
mom.
mom, I'm sorry.
Bad parents.
Yeah.
Bad parents.
Bad parents in general.
Okay, 5 minutes to go. What did you love?
I thought that once again the game action is really, really good.
Yep.
It's some of the best, most realistic game action I've seen, and I think that has taken center stage, and that's what keeps me going in this show.
However, one flaw that I will point out
Mm-hmm.
on the game-winning play at the state championship,
Mhm.
Riggins looks over from the left at Saracen and says, "We got this." And they snap the play, and he clearly was on the right side of the field when he did the hook and lateral to smash. He goes up the sideline from there.
He was looking at Coach Taylor.
Either that or
He was looking at the sideline.
either that or the shot is literally right at the sideline and we can't see it.
Right.
He does a button hook outside
Yes.
and then flips it to Smash, who runs towards the inside of the field, which defeats the purpose. You're running away from the defensive back and the safety.
That's right.
That's minor. That's minor. What did I love? Landry.
Landry's great.
Landry's great.
That was mine.
Yeah, and
He's the best.
You kind of went up, then down, then up with him, and it was by the end you can tell that's going to be good going forward. Who's the worst? Or wait, no. What would you change? Excuse me.
Again, I hate to keep banging on this, but like I need a little bit more structure as to how Texas high school football works in its universe.
Yeah.
Because I just don't understand why these games are important. Like you're telling me they're important, but
Yeah.
you're never showing me why.
And
they're
I would
important.
say my actual critique is right in line with that. It's that I would say the pageantry and sort of the minutia of the playoffs could really solve a lot of these problems.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about playing on Thanksgiving. That never happens.
Yeah.
Practicing on Thanksgiving is like a
It's
huge thing.
deal.
Like that's a benchmark.
A lot of coaches set that as a benchmark.
That's a
we want to be
benchmark of
practicing on
like
Thanksgiving.
Texas high school football playoffs. Things like that I think would have made it really true to character.
And who knows?
Guys.
We have a couple more seasons to go. Maybe
maybe
they do that.
Right.
But
Hold on,
Yeah.
guys. The state champion. This is the biggest error of them all.
Oh, yeah.
The state championships played on Sunday.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's the one day of the year or one
Cowboys
day of
are
the week
in
you
the,
cannot
Cowboys
play.
are in that
Cannot.
stadium.
And the
dog.
Cowboys, this is happening in December.
Yeah.
They probably have a home game, y'all.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense either. Ish, anything you would change?
Less Lila and Street. Hopefully we're done with that.
Okay.
Because like the
hope
drama
so.
is actually starting to be interesting to me, except for that.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope that Jason Street now has a purpose besides just moping all the time. And
Fair
I
enough.
think that he does.
Hopefully. How realistic, grade A to F, was the Texas high school football on the field?
I would give it again
On the field,
like a
B
B plus.
Yeah.
B plus.
It's not perfect,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
not
still...
Yeah, I mean, I'm toying with A minus. Like
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
And again, they kind of I think that you see a little bit of increase in intensity now it's the playoffs, and I think that that's important. So I would say, yeah, I'd say B plus is my official
I'll give the
grade.
Anthony Fantano score of a solid B plus. So solid B, light A.
It's a joke for like 6 people.
Hey, there's some people that are needle drop fans.
You guys are the worst. How realistic was the Texas high school football off the field?
Like this is way worse than it's been.
I think it was worse. Yeah. What did we
Because-
give it? We gave it like a C minus last
I
time.
gave it a B.
I'm dipping C minus, like solid,
But
like firmly
It's
C minus.
B plus C minus.
Because this is, I mean,
It's bad.
the home field on the playoff
Yeah.
situation, how you make the playoffs,
No.
the like now there are
Yeah.
there's the television parts of it. There were a lot of things about this
Yeah.
that I just
I'll give it a C, solid C for me.
I actually, you know what? They did get some of the state stuff right, so I'll bump it back up to a C, but I'm not going higher than that. Guys, what do you think happens next?
my wife quits watching.
Yeah, that's probably.
I mean, I started season 2, so I can't really.
I think
really
it's
that
going to
much.
go really well for Coach Taylor in Austin. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah,
It's
of
gonna
course. He's
gang-
going to take
Oh, he's
this
gonna
job.
He's gonna get
And
the Alabama job
He'll-
soon, right?
Yeah, he'll be Alabama, and then the head coach of the Cowboys by season 3. That's where this is headed. It's going to go.
They might
swimmingly.
even lose another game.
Wow.
No, I don't know. I will say if I may close out with my hashtag wife thoughts.
Okay.
So my wife is not from Texas. When she hears from people, when she tells people what I do for a living at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a lot of people, their frame of reference for that is, like Friday Night Lights. And my wife has said, yeah, like Friday Night Lights. My wife is done saying that. She's not going to say that anymore because apparently that would mean that me as a media member is stirring up racial controversies. I'm trying to make things happen in that regard. That's like I think that this has kind of she knows Texas high school football enough now that she is not going to that she's not going to describe what I do now as like Friday Night Lights, the TV show, because it's not. There's too much of a difference between the realistic, at least off the field, of Texas high school football as opposed to on the field.
Yep.
I think that's realistic.
Like I
All
said,
right.
I started season 2, so I can't really speculate.
Yeah, you
so.
dang cheater.
I was curious.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys next
Landry starts at quarterback.
We'll see you guys next Friday
Watch
as
that
we
show.
recap season 2, the whole thing.
Yep.